Good morning. Well, you might recognise me and you might not. My name's Sonia Poulton. I am a former presenter and journalist at the People's Voice TV. And this is my, response to what David Icke has had to say about me on the People's Voice yesterday. Where do I start? Unlike David, this is not aimed at being a character assassination on him at all. That is absolutely not the purpose of it. That will solve nothing and help no one. But it is about being real. I am, by David's own admission, he calls me a proper journalist. Well, he headhunted me, he approached me, so I'm hardly an infiltrator. He approached me and offered me a daily show at the People's Voice. That was back in May of 2013, and I leapt at the chance. And the reason I leapt at the chance is because I saw it as an absolute wonderful opportunity to have a platform to say all the things that I had thus far been prevented from saying as fully as I needed to in mainstream media. Now, I'm not going to claim that what I'm about to say to you is going to come out polished or anything like that. It's not. This is not scripted. It's a straight to camera. The only thing I've got right there are just some little notes to remind me of what I need to say in this. I watched David's video in which he was talking about me. I didn't watch it all. I simply couldn't. I found it quite distressing to see a man who says that infinite love is everything to talk about another human being, i.e. me, with such vitriol and venom. I just thought it was quite appalling. And so I didn't watch it all. And so you may well, after watching this, say, well, she hasn't answered this, she hasn't answered this. Well, that may be because I've missed it. But I will answer as much as I humanly can of what I've been able to stomach, frankly, of watching his interview with Richie Allen, another presenter on the People's Voice yesterday. Right. First of all, the issue of staff and producers apparently walking away from me. Not true. Here's what happened. When David asked me to work at the People's Voice, and when it was put out, and when he put it out and started to tell people I've got the proper journalist Sonia Poulton on board at the People's Voice, people in the mainstream media who I had worked with began to get very upset with me. And I said, well, I'd love you to come and work with me at the People's Voice. They said, absolutely no way. There was across the board, nobody wanted to be associated with David Icke. So I was absolutely aware of what we were up against. I went into the People's Voice with my eyes wide open, but also knowing that I wouldn't necessarily be able to bring people that I'd known for 20 plus years from media with me, because even though they respected me, they didn't respect David Icke. That is not a slur on him. Everybody knows that, that David has been savaged over the years, and that was one of the reasons that I felt an empathy with him. I didn't want to be the same kind of person just ditching him like others have, and so that was another reason why I thought, no, sod it, no matter what people are saying about him, the People's Voice is a brilliant idea. I love the idea of these free platforms where you could really say what needed to be said without censorship. Anyway, so I couldn't bring anybody with me from the mainland. I mean, simply nobody would come. All the people I approached and said, would you be interested in producing me at the People's Voice? Would you be interested in being a journalist on the People's Voice? Would you be interested in researching? I got back one no after another, and the same went for some of the guests that I wanted on. Lots of people wouldn't come onto my shows simply because it was David Icke. Now, having said that, I am so delighted and so proud of the 21 shows that we did do and the wonderful calibre of people who came in to be interviewed, and I thank you all really for just going through with it as well, even though some of you had misgivings about being involved with anything that David Icke was involved with. Now, let me say, this is not about me or David Icke. It really isn't, and I don't want to turn it into that, and I hope that he doesn't do that, because I fear that that's what it's in danger of. I've seen the letters and the posts where people compare me to Snowball from Animal Farm and him to Napoleon, where it's this kind of man versus woman thing. It's not a gender issue. This is just about one simple thing: transparency. That is all I've ever asked for at the People's Voice, and that is what I've been refused. And this idea that it's about just a few rounds of drinks for some hard-pressed volunteers, I'm sorry, it's a crock. What we need to do is have a thorough investigation of what has happened with the People's Voice. Some people are saying it's only £300,000, which is it's actually more, but that's what some people are saying. But it's not just about that. If the People's Voice is supposed to be different to what is already out there, then it has to conduct itself in an ethical way. And spending money, frankly, what appears to be willy-nilly, is not ethical. There is so much that needs to be explored in terms of that entire revenue stream that was coming into the People's Voice. It is not just from Indiegogo, it's from PayPal, other sources. They all need to be looked into. This is not an attack on the People's Voice. This is not an attack on David Icke, but it is asking for transparency. I want to do a live interview with David Icke, Sean, Adl-Tabatabai and Liz Roberts. They are the three people whom I believe have the information on what has happened with the money. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but they took me into a dark studio, excuse me, on Monday, when I went into the People's Voice to do what I thought would be my show, and we had a meeting beforehand. They took me into a dark studio at the People's Voice. They never have meetings in a dark studio. What on earth was that about? It was designed to intimidate. I was quite disgusted. David, if you're watching this, which I know you will be, I was quite disgusted that you did that. It really made me lose some respect in you, to be honest with you, because you're better than that. You should be better than that, because you say all these wonderful things, David, but I don't believe you are necessarily living them. So oh God, like I said, I don't want this to be an attack on you, David, but it is what it is. Let's be real. You have behaved appallingly. That first statement you released about me was a savage attack. You didn't put a name to it, but you wrote it, and the reason that people now know you wrote it is because Liz Roberts admitted it into an email to Barry Sharp, one of the presenters, no more, at the People's Voice, that it was you, David Icke, who wrote that scathing, vicious statement about me leaving. That was the issue of my behaviour, apparently, has never been raised by you, David. Have you ever once called me into an office and said, I have a problem with your behaviour? Never. You've gone around the whole building saying, this is what real journalism is about, and Sonia won't take that rubbish, and all this kind of stuff, as if, it's something, that you totally back. What it is I say. I don't deny I can be fiery. Honestly, I don't. I said it. I know I know my own shortcomings. I absolutely do. But I do not treat people with disrespect, and it's wrong to suggest I do. And I'm very sad that some people at the People's Voice do not have the backbone that they claim to have. That has really saddened me. This whole idea, I'm sorry, it makes me laugh actually, because it just shows how wussy some people are. This whole idea that there are these sort of rats running around and master on a ship, because that's what's taking place. They are aware that there are real problems at the People's Voice which have nothing to do with me. People are trying to scapegoat me, the whistleblower. How bloody ironic. For a so-called truth station, you're actually scapegoating the whistleblower who said, hold on, something is not right here. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Something is not right here, and people don't like it. I know that some people are having their bubbles burst right now, and that is a painful experience. As my favourite philosopher, Khalil Gibran, once said, that pain that people feel is like sort of the bursting of the bubble of their understanding, and I know that feeling. I did not want to witness or feel the way that I am currently feeling. It makes me really disillusioned. I went into the People's Voice with my eyes wide open and my heart open and my mind open, and it hasn't turned out to be what I thought it was going to be. And I'm just thinking if there's anything else that I need to address about that video. Oh yeah, the issue of, like I say, it needs to be a live interview with David Icke, Sean and Liz. But the idea of me being interviewed by Richie Allen, I'm sorry, is farcical. Let's get a couple of things straight here, yeah? I'm not keen on Richie. I'm really not, let's be honest. And neither are the majority of people in the office, and there's a couple of reasons why. He lives with David Icke. He has used that to abuse people in the office. He calls women bitches, okay? This is not just smearing, this is just being real, okay? So if Richie wants to give me the right to reply, it's only to have a discussion with him about his behaviour around the office that is sanctioned by David Icke. Just being real, okay? Just being real. Let me just look at my notes, see if there's anything else that I feel I need to cover right now. Yeah, transparency, that's all I'm asking for. Let's get some transparency, really. It's time, it's the People's Voice. I'm going to do my own thing, just like I did before. It's no biggie to me. People have already approached me, said, Sonia, I've got a production suite you can use. And you know why? Because I have a good reputation, and that's why people have come out so strongly in my favour, and I thank you so much. I can't thank you enough, actually. It's been overwhelmingly heartening to see that people can really see the truth, even when there is a clear smear campaign taking place. Take care. I love you all. Even the people at People's Voice who are behaving abysmally, I still remain the same. I'm still true to heart. And, and People's Voice, please put back up that film that we shot on New Year's Eve, because it's really important. It's the anti-frackers in Manchester, and it's about a father who's fighting about the state stealing children. So get that video back up, please. Thank you. Take care. Lots of love. God bless you all, really. Well, whether you